Hey folks, I have a discrepancy to take care of this morning. I really need to be on my way to Pattaya so we can take part in the Distinguished Gentleman's Ride, which we'll be doing this episode. But when we returned from our little break in Pattaya, we discovered that we may have actually taken one step forward while we were gone, but two steps back, maybe resulting in what I'm calling negative progress. Anyway, I'll explain all that. We'll see what reality is, but for right now, let's just go ahead and jump right into it. So it's Sunday morning. I've got to be on my way to Pattaya soon, but I stopped by this morning for two reasons. One, to see if this septic tank guy shows up and to kind of get him going on the right foot. And two, the main contractor seems like there's a little bit of a discrepancy in their square meterage of our wall, the way he's measured it and the way I've measured it. So I need to reconcile that this morning as soon as he gets here. But just for this wall right here, it's 2 meters by 3 meters. That's 6 square meters. You take 1.6 meters away for the door. So now it's 4.4 meters that is chargeable. Things like that, I'm going to go through each wall and reconcile. He says it's 118 meters. I say it's more like 90. I say it's more like 20 meters less than that. It's a big discrepancy. It's not a couple. I wouldn't be doing it. A wall like this, that wall's counted once in this room, but then it's not counted in the other room. Or you can count it in the other room and not count it in this room. So it's easy to count a wall twice. Being the one paying for it, I think I'm less likely to make a mistake than the one charging for it. But we'll see. So maybe my maths are wrong, but I don't think so. The other thing is, a lot of it we've done. So it's only the amount of blocks that he's laid and finished. So we'll get that reconciled as soon as he shows up. All right, we got all that worked out. The ceiling's higher than I thought. I thought they screwed up on the ceiling and it was only 3 meters, but it's 3.20, which is what it was supposed to be. Lon took a bad measurement, I guess. So we want a 3-meter ceiling, which means you need about 20 centimeters extra on the top. We got all that worked out. He came up with 111. I came up with 106. I said, look, we'll split in the middle, 109. Everybody's happy. He said, fine, we shook on it. So I cut out about 9 meters or close to 3,000 baht worth of cost. Anyway, we're going to hit the road. Here we are at 5 p.m. today. All these bikes will take off and take part in the 15th annual running of the Distinguished Gentleman's Ride. Although it's 5 p.m. here, our comrades across the globe, some of them haven't even woken up yet, but wherever they are, eventually they'll be running this run globally today, whether they're in Canada, Europe, Australia. Oh, the Aussies might have already ran theirs, but it's a global function, all to support men's health. We were able to raise over 50,000 baht for men's health with over 30 donors. So thanks to everybody who donated. I'll put up the short list. Some of them are anonymous. That's fine as well. But we got, I think, when I last left out of the hotel to come here, I think we were number 1 in the country. It's not one person. It's all of the donations that matter for all the riders. So it's a big, big number. Worldwide. And I guess most people are here by now. There's a little bit of everything here, even some scooters, but there's a lot of Triumphs. It's mainly Triumphs. For every 10 Triumphs, there's one Honda or one Kawasaki or something like that. It is mainly Triumphs. It's a Triumph dealer here. They're one of the big sponsors. This has been a very successful dealership. They have sold a lot of bikes. The amount of people turning up on their Bonnevilles, their Speedsters, the Scramblers, the 400 series, but all very popular sellers here. Even the big Tigers, 660, 900 Tigers, the Bobbers, everything here. Triumph definitely kind of rules the roost here. There's 67 people registered for this, but there's got to be easily 150 bikes here. Anyway, is what it is. Sometimes maybe one person registers and then a whole group comes or something. I don't know. But it's good. The more, the merrier. Anyway, we're going to get ready to take off, and I'll take you guys with me. But we're staying at a really cool place. I'm going to show you around there. We've already checked in while we get all ramped up and ready for this ride here. It's something a lot different, and it's brand new. So this is our home for the night. Ban Farm Rook. It's a neat place. Every accommodation here is like something custom. There's about 4 or 5 different ones. If you want a great big accommodation, you have a whole family, they've got rooms for that. If you just want like a small bungalow, I think these are the basic rooms behind me here. I actually booked what's called the Hobbit House. And they only have 2 of the Hobbit houses. They're like a dome shape when I'll show you over here. It's a brick front with a round window. Looks like something a hobbit would live in, although I think they live in the trunks of trees, I believe. But anyway, it's like an extra large hobbit house. They're over there. I was unable to book this on Agoda. I actually had to visit their website. They have like a booking section of their website. So if you find them on Google Maps, I'll put a Google Map link in the description below. They have a link to their booking site, their website. I think it was 1,000 baht for the night. So we're location-wise, though, I'll tell you, although there's a map link, it's on the railroad road behind Sukhumvit. So you're off the beaten path in terms of all the fray and all the traffic and commotion, but also you're not way out in the dark side either. You're right on the railroad road. It looks like you can float around in these big tubs over here. That'd actually be pretty cool. Float around the pond in a bowl. It's in Pattaya, not far from everything, and you feel like you're out in the country, when really you're just 5 minutes, not even 5, couple minutes from Sukhumvit Road. So I guess we're hobbits for the night. It seems like it's a very small room, the first thing. And it feels smaller than it actually is because you're in a dome, it curves up. But the bed is a rather large size bed. It's at least as big as the same size as the bed we got at home, at least like a queen size. They got a little table and chair squeezed in over here with a shelf unit. And there's a back door to the hobbit house. I wouldn't recommend anybody stay here for an extended stay, but for one night, it's a novelty room is what it is, and it's pretty cool. Even the bathroom's kind of smallish, but the shower's right in the curve of the room. The fan looks small, the TV looks small. It's a modern TV, but small. Little shelf, that's small, everything's small. It's a little hobbit room, except the bed. The bed looks very decent. We got nice curtains, and we have a lovely little bamboo hut out here, right outside of our accommodation. We've got a nice bamboo hut. Now, I'll show you how smart Lon is. And then right over here next to us, we got rabbits. We're feeding the rabbits over here. Show you how smart Lon is. I never would have figured this out. No, I don't want that. She said, okay, thank you. We've been here before, about 2 years ago, but it wasn't a resort. It was a mukata. And I remember when we got here, it was very popular. It was a good price. It was a very low price. It was one of these real like deal of the week kind of things. And back then I did a lot of videos like that, let people know. And we came here, but it was such a good deal. We had to wait in the line to get in. We had to take a number and wait for your beeper or whatever. And I remember it, but I didn't recognize it was this place until she said so. She confirmed that, I think, with the staff. I think this is a leftover feature from the mukata, to be honest with you. I think this is one of the things you could sit and eat mukata in. A lot of this lake and the lily pads and all were here. But this is a relatively new open. This hasn't been open that long. We'll enjoy, and then we'll head over for the Distinguished Gentleman's Ride after we put on our gentlemanly-like attire. We made it to Dongtan Beach, our first stop. Got to be 150 bikes out here. But everybody's parked up here at Dongtan. This is where they do aerobics, I guess it's aerobics, whatever you call it, where they all dance to the music for exercise out here. So I don't guess they'll be doing that tonight. But there's some people, I know some people, that just come here to watch the aerobics. It's a lot of ladies that like to do the aerobics. So, not tonight.
That's it, we made it. I thought there was going to be a stop at Bali High. There wasn't. We just zoomed right by. We did have to brave the traffic on Second Road, though. Not the best of ideas. We've made it here. Rest station Pattaya. That's where we'll wash back some trail dust and have a good evening. Tomorrow, Monday, back to work. So it's Monday morning. We're just getting back into the construction site from Pattaya. We left about 7:30. It was one of those rides. It would be beautiful one minute, pouring down rain the next. In and out of rain. We must have been in and out of rain 10 times. Anyway, we didn't miss much. They took one tank, the tank wasn't even in the hole. It was sitting here. But they basically poured a little bit of cement down there for that tank to sit on. That's all they did yesterday. But I don't see any ditches dug or pipes laid or anything in terms of that septic. Big thing that got done yesterday is they plastered the front part of the house. That's really all we missed. It's just that. And let me see if they did this side. I didn't check that yet. Yeah, they did. They did that side too. Other thing they did is fix the windows. They were right up against. So this side of the window was right here. They put in these on each side. Where you can hang the curtains, that just looks better. Actually, we wanted it a little bit more than that, but okay, that beats a blank. Another Monday in the hardware store, in the home store. We bought all the pot lights. We got all the pot lights. They're about 200 baht each. So about $6 each. We needed 17 of them. And now we're buying a pump, a submersible pump, so we can pump all the water out. They're trying to do that whole septic system. That's what that's going to be for. It's about 2,000 baht. Also, all the light bulbs. We got all the light bulbs. I'm not sure what they're going to run. 17 light bulbs, 17 pot lights, and a pump. And then we've got to get, the other big thing we're here after is a water, oil, or an oil-water separator. That's part of the septic. That's got to go first thing from the kitchen sink. So we're going to try to find that now. All right, that was actually pretty easy. The direct translation, it's called a grease trap. That's if you translate it. So I call it oil water separator. They call it a grease trap. Okay, we're going to go back and look at kitchen cabinets. They've got everything, including the kitchen sink. So the kitchen cabinetry may not be what you're thinking either. These are pretty typical Thai kitchen cabinets. They're not made out of wood. They're made out of basically concrete. They're made out of blocks. You make the blocks, you make the counter just like you want with the blocks, and then you cover it with tile, and then you save your inserts for the cabinetry. So we're measuring for the inserts. You can get an insert with a drawer, you can get an insert with a double cabinet, a single cabinet, whatever. And they have all kind of different finishes on the front of those. Of course, you pick your tile, whatever kind of tile. And then your top, you pick your top. In our case, granite top. We're going to buy the front fascia of the cabinet. We're going to buy the tile, and then we're going to buy the countertop, all kind of separately. Although we can get all that stuff here, except for the granite I want to get from the place that I've already been. But that's how it all goes. And these are solid, very solid. You'd expect them to be solid because they're made out of concrete and covered with tile. It's like pulling teeth trying to get those cabinets. We asked like 10 different ones. Do you have this one? We need drawers and a cabinet. We need a couple different units. And either wouldn't have the ones we needed, not in the color, or they don't even make them in that color. Finally, I just said, well, which one do you have? Show us what we can get for all of them. And it was one that was unappealing. So we're going to go to another store for that bit. Anyway, she's got the measurements. That's the important thing. She needs to know how big to make the whole thing with the blocks. Oftentimes, you will find Thais wear clothing, hats, t-shirts that They had no idea what it says. They just think it looks cool, so maybe somebody gave it to them. In the case of our worker out here, she's wearing a Pornhub shirt. I don't think that requires any explanation, but she had no idea what it meant. Lon had no idea what it meant. I said, Lon, do you know what that means? Do you know what her shirt means? And she looked at me and said, oh, is that a cleaning company? Maybe she was a cleaning lady before. No, it's pretty far away from being a cleaning lady. In most examples. We needed new tires for the PCX today. This guy put on the new tires. I love this little junkyard dog he's got here. Anyway, not the cheapest tires. I paid a lot less for tires, but he didn't have the right ones in stock, so we had to take what he had. It was like, I don't know, about 1,700 baht, about $50 for 2 PCX tires. It's very expensive. Anyway, they needed them, and now they'll probably last for 5 years. Well, it's end of the day on Tuesday. I believe yesterday, Monday, might have been our first, what I'm calling, negative progress day. You might say, well, what's negative? How can you have negative progress? Because that means you have less done in the afternoon than you had in the morning when you started. That's what I mean. For example, the bathroom in the back of the house. We had it blocked all the way up, but it was discovered that it wasn't done right. So yesterday they had to tear it down. At least the top part. Tear down like the top 4, 5, 6 courses of blocks. And they spent all day doing that. So at the end of the day, as of now, there's not a wall where it used to be. But now there's the opportunity to have it done correctly. So that's one example. The bedroom windows would be another example. They were all done. However, one guy spent the entire day redoing them because they were all pushed way off to the side where the edge of the window was on the wall. We wanted that away from the wall, about 10 centimeters or so. I don't know who puts a window right up against the wall, but that's what they did. One guy spent all day doing that, so maybe that's a wash because he did finish it at the end of the day. It's definitely no progress, but it might not be negative either, but the bathroom's definitely negative. The septic guy was here in the morning. We had a big meeting. Everything he needed was going to need. We went out and got the grease trap, the oil water separator, whatever. Got all that, and then this morning he hasn't come. So we spent all this time running around getting everything he needs, and then he doesn't show up. The other guy hasn't come, despite he wanted more cement for the rendering and more all the stuff for the ceilings. It's all sitting here. He could have been working on that today. They're not. So between certain people just taking a day off or having another job to do somewhere else or whatever, and then trying to get caught up on some things that weren't done correctly, having redos going on, the progress the last 2 days has been slim. The electric is proceeding well. Our worker that had all the personal problems last week, he's back. So he's been the assistant for Lan's son, running all the electric. I'll go into that in a second, but there's a lot of progress with that. That's one bright point of the week so far. And you'll see up here, everything is going to kind of come to a head right up here by the front door is where the junction bar, or the breaker box is going to be. So you already see a lot of the circuits that are destined for the breaker box that have ended up here. He started wiring up some switches in the first bedroom here. The switch for the air condition, the switch for the lights, that's all wired. Also, since they have the ceiling trellis in, he's also got the lights, the drops for the 4 pot lights. We bought all those yesterday. So that's all ready to go in. When they put up the ceiling, they can cut the holes for the pot lights, and they can be the final connections made for those lights. So all those little things. We've got the second to the last wall completed today. It was just the top of that wall that's been needing to be done for a while. And now we just got this last section here and a little bit on that little front now. But most of that in the front will be door. There'll be a top. So anyway, the last little bit of it is being worked on now. Lon's getting ready the outside on this side of the house to be rendered, which we're going to do that. We're not going to have the contractor do that. And he's done this corner of the house on Sunday. That's the last big thing that he did. He did this whole front corner of the house on Sunday while we were gone. So that's a good chunk of work right there. But we've got half the back and this whole side of the house that we're going to do, that she's going to do with her work crew, Big Mama and the other one. So she's setting them up to do that. So maybe by the end of the week, that'll all be done. The inside's just about all done. The only thing we're waiting on the inside is these last walls to be completed, and then the redo on the bathroom over there. The kitchen's done, my office is done, both bedrooms are done, and the walls, to the extent that we can do them in the living room, are done. I was really hoping the septic guy would have made a big dent with all this and buried these, and we can kind of see really how that's all going to go. Maybe next time. Hopefully, I got all these pipes waiting for him. Look at all these pipes. A plethora of pipes waiting. We've got everything. This little bit of block probably will not be enough. Now that they've wasted or had to ruin about 800 I'll show you in the back. There's a whole stack of blocks. Lon was mad. She thought that those could have been reused, but they just busted them out like with hammers. And then now they're no more good, except for if you need a little piece or something. But if they would have done it, would have taken them longer to do it. I don't know if they could have been successful in that or not. They're very hard to get apart, and these blocks break pretty easy. The glue that holds them together is probably stronger than the block. Anyway, I probably will have to get a couple more of these tomorrow, because they're going to probably run out of this last ration. And then we'll still, of course, need more to rebuild the bathroom up there. Negative progress. Hopefully we don't have too many more negative progress days, and we can have positive progress.
All right, despite all the planning and material gathering, we really never know what the result of a given day will be. We just always hope for the best. You know, I tell people, especially people who are coming here for the first time, I say, look, things may not always happen on your timeline, but they'll happen. A little bit of patience goes a long way here. It's just the way it is. People aren't maybe in as big of a hurry as you are, or you're used to being about things, but they eventually get done. So you kind of have to keep that in perspective. Anyway, we'll hope for better results going forward. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Something else next time, but for this one, I got to go ahead and leave it off right here. And as usual, I'll thank you for watching. And until next time, bye for now.